What's happening, everyone? Welcome to your Wednesday, your stream on Permabull Protocols Deep Dive number 3. Very excited. I had to set up for about a week or so now. I've been prepping. We're going to get through the doc today. We're going to get through the doc. Probably, maybe we're going to try hard, but a lot of questions, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of ups and downs on the charts. At least would be interesting. So I'm excited to get into it. Put your question in the chat. We'll try to get to a few of them if we can, but there's plenty of stuff going to cover today. So hopefully you enjoy it. If you like deep dives, if you're interested in the GIF ecosystem and Permabull protocols and stuff, I think you will hopefully make the best out of these this technical content and some of the answers you may be looking for different topics. So anyways, without further ado, let's get them in here. Giffordwear and KNTX. How's it going, gents?
Doing well, sir. And yourself?
I'm good.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've been holding my breath for the past week since we set it up. I'm like, what's going to happen? Is something going to launch? Is the price going to go up again? Or the other way? Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been a joyride.
Well, if it wasn't you, Max, I don't know if I would be on anybody's stream right now because I am deep in it right now. So, but happy to take the time for a good buddy.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. I know I noticed you haven't been, you guys haven't been hitting the streaming cycles right now. I'm like, all right, I guess I keep asking good questions. I keep being very polite, very patient. I walk around, I create the thumbnails, and I tell the people about these products. So again, not being paid, no monetization. And I was telling you guys before we talked about DeFi and how I'm really excited to have new products that are doing stuff that is, creating we talked about it, a couple streams before, but just the ability to have new DeFi products in PulseChain and doing stuff around PulseChain with Pulsar and stuff too. To me, that's exciting. I came into Hex for DeFi. I came into PulseChain expecting the best DeFi protocols around. And I think we have a ton of great products launched in the network. And this one just struck me as, man, I need to, every time I see something that I really like, I tend to deep dive. I tend to create a lot of content. I try to figure out as much as I can. I try to get people to answer questions about it as well, to tell the people, what they need to know about it. And yeah, I'm just glad to have you guys around, and I'm glad that we can get into it. So thank you both for your time. Seriously, like I wish Kool-Aid was here as well. He's always fun to riff with.
Yeah, he is. We're probably more proud to have you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for understanding DeFi.
It's natural. It's natural. Yeah. I mean, that's
therefore understanding what we're doing.
We're at a point in PulseChain too. And again, everyone has their own thing. They want to do meme coins. They want to do like whatever protocols. They want to do liquidity plays, all that stuff. To me, I just think the most fascinating thing is actually in some spectrum of DeFi and creating value through that. And again, it's just natural for me to be like, whoa, okay, yes, I like that. Let me tell people about that thing. And that's what we're going to do today, because a lot of stuff has happened between part 2. I think it's been 2 weeks, and holy crap. Can we just start there? Like, so we had the run up. I think last time the price was at, I don't know. I think it just hit was close to 1,000. I remember that because Kool-Aid was talking about the 1,000x, and then we talked about 10,000x before and stuff too. I think it was like 900 or so last time we streamed. And then it went up to, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say around almost 3K pulse per GIF. Or did it wick over?
It wicked over.
It did.
Okay, so that's a large increase. And then it went down for about 3 or 4 days. It just went down. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people came out. You heard the rugs, you heard the all the talk like that, which is funny. Every time I hear it, I'm like, I know the playlist has like 47 videos on it right now. How many hours of content do we need or people to, just take a look at it before they understand that this is not a rugging deal. This is not one of those things. This is, if the community decides to rug it, they can, but it's one of those that is properly incentivizing people to, I guess I would say, lock up value, mint stuff, be their own bank, do their own stuff, creation, not inflation, all those principles, much more than it is this kind of like centralized control. And, Gift talked about, let the community do the work. They want to do LP. Like, I love all that stuff too. So anyways, went down a lot. And then it's been hovering, I think, 4, 5, 6 cents, somewhere through there for the last few days. New protocols. Every time we've heard rumblings. I think RG3, I clipped it. yesterday talking about
Mhm.
protocols coming. The website's been updated, which has that little, more coming soon type of thing, which is that was when I saw that, I was like, ooh, nice. That's actually confirmed information. Because a lot of the stuff, you hear things in the Telegram and otherwise, and I'm like, is everything going to have this? Is everything going to burn PGIF? Is this a pattern? Like, I want to get in that with you guys too. I don't like to talk about things until I've confirmed it, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about it. So, anyways, website updates, all that stuff. A lot of rumblings. There's a poll on what stuff to come next. I feel like I asked the question. I'm telling you guys what happened the last 2 weeks. So, anyways, what has been? How's the experiment going, gentlemen?
It's been going great. I think so. That's just my opinion. If there was a rug, all liquidity would have been pulled, but I don't think the community wants that. And since they're the ones providing the liquidity, then that's totally on them. So if it were to happen, it would at all the pools. I mean, just in GIF alone, there's, almost 600K, not even including PGIF, that's still being provided as liquidity. So I'd say it's a pretty good, and we're holding still above that as of today. I probably should check my chart before I misspeak, but as of today, yeah, we're still well over 1,000 pulse. So from the very bottom, we're still sitting higher than a 10,000x. And why would we rug something, being as public as we are and forward facing, tarnish our reputations? We've been here 4.5 years. Why would we ruin that now, especially when we had plans to continue building with more cool tech to build on top of all of this, guys? So why would we do that? So I think the nice thing about that stuff is you don't have to respond to it. You just keep building and let the nice thing about time is that time tells all. So the truth comes out in time. So it was kind of fun to watch. So honestly, like, all of you haters out there, I want to thank you, because it's because of you that we continue working. I mean, you just give us that extra oomph of motivation, and we love it. So we need that as much as we do the people in our corner cheering us on. There's a lot of people in our
that. Let me put a pin on that real quick. Like, we have room for everybody in gift tech, like literally everybody. If you're one of the guys that doesn't like what we're doing, we're trying to win you over. We really are, because there is no limit as to what protocols we build on, what coins we build on, what experiment we run next that may actually pique your interest, right? So just know that, yeah, we may sit back and laugh, and yeah, maybe it motivates us, but really we want you to join the team.
We do. That's why we're not out there trying to stomp on our haters, because with, if you don't burn those bridges, they could potentially become part of that community in the future as well. So why burn those bridges? So we'll take it to the chin, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. That is the downside to making stuff, to trying to make a better world and trying to build, is that you're going to have those people that shout you down. But you really, and hopefully this encourages some of you guys out there, if you have an idea, just go execute. There is this fear of success, and there is going to be some level of hater, but those are the ones that let you know, honestly, that they're the real indicators that you're doing something right. So we actually thrive off of it. And some of the comments are pretty funny, especially when you get memed. It's like, well done, sir. Nice meme.
You guys got memed? Wow, what an honor. There.
Oh yeah, cool. Continually. None of us like the captain though. Captain RG3 gets memed to the nth degree. And it's funny because we, one person from this tribe is mad at us because we associate with someone from this tribe, even though we don't have any business deals or any workings behind the scenes. We don't know any of the drama that goes on behind the scenes. And it's like, I just personally don't want to be involved in the drama, and I'd rather just be good with everyone, because I think there's a place on PulseChain for everybody.
Yeah, I always go by the, if you engage in the drama, you become part of it. And I'm like, no, just I'm good. I'm good. I will avoid as much as possible. how do you? I want to bring up a tweet real quick too from K4K. I thought was interesting to talk about because I wanted to get into the different ideas again, set the stage. You know, we did the previous deep dives. We hit a lot of the main components and the principles and how the stuff works. But I wanted to get an idea of both mechanics and philosophical. So one sec. I'll bring up. I got a couple of comments I want to riff on a bit too. But so this one struck me from K4K a while back that you know, seems like he's been doing some positive gift stuff as well. Reverse liquid staking. I want to get you all to, you know, is that a way to think about GIF? Is that like, is there anything interesting there as far as it talks about if people add permanent buy pressure from the outset, they help the entire ecosystem themselves. Most of the games from crypto or from price performance, not yield. The whole idea of, you know, price performance versus yield and what GIF offers here. What do you guys think about that?
Well, first off, what a legend, right? K4K, man. You know, he got me super hyped into PulseX, like right around, you know, announcement time and stuff, and talking about the buy and burn mechanics. And so, you know, I'd watch a lot of his streams and just get pumped about, you know, what he's talking about. So what a legend. And when I saw him join our chat, I was just like, dude, this should be right up your alley. I hope this really clicks with you. And it did. It clicked right away. So right off the bat, what a legend. And he's really understanding these mechanics really well, and he learned it really fast, which should be no surprise, right? But for what he's talking about on liquid staking, I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, if you go back to some roots, you know, originally it was all about you buy and hold, you hodl it. There was no staking, there was no looking for yield or airdrops or all this other stuff. So how can you create a system that incentivizes people to hold, right? And well, one way you do it is you just make it deflationary. Like, let no new coins come into existence and just make it deflationary. And then all you have to do is hold it. There's no need to stake.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a interesting dynamic in our ecosystem because, you know, again, talked about holding, staking, getting the yield. It's been about yield so much. And I still like yield. I still think that's like a really good way for DeFi, one of the pillars for a lot of products out there. But why has deflation been overlooked so much? Has it just not been done correctly before? Or does the buy and burn sort of like make it make sense? How do those intersect?
Nope. Go ahead, Giff.
Oh, come on.
It worked, Max.
There you go.
Okay.
1 for 1.
So the question is, give me a concise question on that one.
Why has deflationary coins not been as popular? And is it because the buy and burn sort of makes it better, makes the position make more sense with having a token or ecosystem that like rides on that versus looking at price performance versus the yield part of like, you can't stake it, you can't get yield, it deflates. However, there's this permanent buyer for it. Like how does it make sense now? Because are there any other examples out there of deflationary coins that become super popular in our ecosystem? I can't think of any.
I mean, PulseChain is, right?
Yeah, PulseChain.
It can be.
It can be. If we get there, yeah.
You get the volume, right? You get the volume in there. So I think the real key is, how do you incentivize people to burn a token that they own? I think that's the key. That's what we worked on. That was the experiment that we were showing in real time. People don't really want to burn tokens, especially their own. They want other people to burn tokens, right? So then you could ask, well, how do we get other people to burn tokens? Well, you financially incentivize them to arbitrage. That's how you do it, right? And then on top of that, you know, this kind of came up with you know, a community member from another community about like, why would you want to burn tokens? Like, I want other people to burn them, but I don't want to burn them. And it's like, well, if you understand the system, you understand how the cogs kind of roll and what keeps the system really chugging along and makes your assets more valuable, you should always want to burn a little bit. You want to be a participant in the process. You don't want to just sit back and watch it and see if it succeeds or fails. Because you could have the best system, but if nobody interacts with it, then you might have a problem there. So I guess to answer your question, it's twofold. It's like a community has to be bought in to make a deflationary token valuable, then also you need to incentivize other people to burn the token for you in order to keep that system going as well. And to make it a popular thing to do is, hold a deflationary token.
Yeah, it's an incentive mechanism. You incentivize people to do the right behaviors and they will participate.
Yeah, I mean and then no leaky boats. That plays, I think, a big role in this too. Of I've seen ideals and stuff come up, and I've even seen Kool-Aid say, "Oh, no leaky boats." Like, oh, why don't we airdrop people? Why don't we better influence them or incentivize them to arbitrage? Like we need to, like what happens, and that's kind of what happened recently too. Is the minting slowed down? You guys want to talk about that? Of like minting slowed down recently. The GIF actually became less valuable than PGIF, which is a funny situation. For a time, people were arbing it, but it's kind of like we started coming up with like new scenarios for arbitrage that weren't expected or didn't think it would come into play so quickly. What happens when things like that occur in the system?
Well, I think you can see that, especially if you're in the chats and you're asking questions, because we got a great community over on Telegram. Shout out to all you guys here in the chat right now. Appreciate you guys being here. There's a lot of discussions that go on in the Telegram, and I think you see when something's built to be durable and long lasting, you start to see a self-correction. So bad actors are not incentivized to continue to be bad actors. So when it is no longer profitable to do so, then you see the good actors coming in to take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity either way.
But was there a certain point to where people were like, okay, the flywheel, when it keeps going, everything's good. But when it slows down, then what happens? Was that kind of I don't know, I felt like that was an uncertainty moment in the community of like, okay, price went down, things are less valuable than they should be. The market is irrational for a bit. Like, how do we handle that?
Well, I mean, you can only help assuage people's human, their human emotions to some degree, and it's just, hey guys, maybe now's a good time to pick up the less valuable of the two, and because we did see a lopsided. You'd mentioned earlier that we saw a lopsided price, and if you think about it, if PGIF is trading at less than GIF, then maybe it makes sense to pick that asset up for cheaper than what you'd actually buy the underlying asset for, because you've got this intrinsic value and this protocol fee that's already part of the system that you're already taking advantage of. So you're getting a larger supply of the intrinsically more valuable token. So again, going back, I think there was the market sentiment that people were scared. I mean, oh my gosh, this thing dipped from 4,000 down to 1,000. Like, oh my goodness, it went down 67%. And then, people start to realize, oh, wait a second, the liquidity pools are still there. The team is still building, still talking to people, still engaging with us in the chat here. Okay, then I think people's rational minds started to take over. And there's been some great discourse once again in the Telegram chat, where people have put up some great ideas, and they're sharing these ideas and they're educating each other. And that turned around in pretty quick order, honestly. I mean, we were red for what, 4 days, and we're much higher than we were then.
4 days.
Yes, for many people
like
in the community, it was
peak excitement, and then it was like, whoa, the price went down. Oh, it went down again. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's solid again. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, there was even a bunch of very benevolent people that even at a price lost to themselves or a value lost to themselves went on a burning tangent. It was crazy. We did a Telegram spaces about it. We were just like, we were in a meeting and we just start seeing all this burning happening, and we're like, what just happened? And so we hopped on and started talking with the community, like, hey, you guys, we don't expect everyone to do this because there's no financial incentive in the short term immediate for people to come out and be benevolent that way. I don't remember, there was a lot of different wallets that just started engaging. And so we wanted
to say it went from 13%. I tweeted about it, 13% gift burned. And then like an hour later, it was like 23%. Like, what just happened? Like,
it started just above 10%, I think, maybe just over 11%. And in about a 24-hour time span, you saw 23% of the total supply burnt.
Which I love. I love the idea of like a burn party, right?
Burn party, yeah.
Especially, you know, any community that we end up bringing into the fold, right? That we build on top of. This is something that every community that wants to be a party gift tech should think about, you know, implementing. This is how you rally the troops. You say, hey, we're not telling you to burn all your tokens. We're saying let's all get together and let's burn a little bit, you know, 1-2% of your stack, something very small, because it can add up and you might get some sort of competition brewed up that you did not anticipate. And then all of a sudden the biggest bag holders come in and they burn 100 million on the spot, one transaction.
Yeah.
Right. Like we saw. So it's just it's a cool little momentum play. It's a cool little community building kind of situation. And I think it's fantastic. And as far as the chart goes, the chart, as you've heard some people say before we saw the pullback, was unchartable, right? It was an unchartable chart. It was
the unchartable chart on PulseChain.
It was insane. It far exceeded our expectations on what it could do, obviously. But you know, we needed a pullback, and if you pull back on that chart and you look at the health of that chart, it is looking pretty gorgeous in my opinion.
Use a different chart that's not the P gift to gift.
Yeah, I was gonna.
That's a great chart for like liquidity, community pulling that. I've got no GIF, P GIF in that pool, and it's crazy how much liquidity there is in that.
Chart against Pulse. Yeah, I was going to talk about the thick liquidity. We can do that in a second though. But yeah, it's started from the bottom and now it went there and then still way above. You know, we're at what? 11.
Come on, bro. How long you been in You said you're an RH maximalist. Where's the log button, bro? Where's the log? Come on.
I started not clicking log because
yeah, I know.
You want me to
on the gift chart, to see that log.
I'm not a TA guy either. However, I don't know. Log is, I don't know. When I hear Sami, it's so funny when I hear Sami talk about click log. We've kind of, that's what we used to tell people about the hex chart, but then you click log, it doesn't work anymore as far as the ehex chart goes. So I've kind of forgotten the log button in that way. Shout out to ehex, by the way.
Shout out. We like ehex. We want to help ehex. Just throwing that out there.
Yes. I mean, obviously with the iBurn stuff, that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, and if we get minting going again, and we'll get into that in a bit though too. But I want to talk about why. So we got $1 million liquidity on a PGIF and GIF. Is that what people? So what are people? They're not staking it. What are people doing with the coins? Because you can't stake it. You can arbitrage. You can mint. But once you have them, or just people just putting them in the pool to get fees, is there, like how much, there's 12K of volume, so not a ton of volume, not a lot of fees to be made right now. That could change in the future. The people who have a lot of supply and stuff, what are they? I mean, it's obviously not all the supply. A lot of it actually has been, that's only 16 million. So 16 million PGIF. So that's a decent portion of the supply. I think that was the total supply. It's got to be 30 million or so. And then the GIF, I don't know how much is left of that. We can look at that address and stuff too. Anyways, what are people doing? Like, what does it make sense to have such a thick liquidity in these pools?
Well, I can't speak to what people are thinking when they put that in there, since I'm not one of those pool participants. I want to see that pool thinned out quite a bit, but there's money to be made on it. So, and I'll explain that here in just a second. I would love to see that thin out and make the buy and burns more effective. But if you continue building on top of it, it's not a big deal long term. But the reason why I would assume so many people have money in there, or I should say GIF and PGIF, these are just imaginary, intangible coins you can't see, touch, or hear. But I think there's such a tight trading range between GIF and PGIF that people are able to make money just providing liquidity there. It's not as much as it was when we had that big hype for sure. But I mean, look at how much pooled PGIF is in there and look how much pooled GIF is in there. PGIF is what, almost 3 times as much as the amount of GIF that's in that pool. And so I think a lot of people were and still are taking advantage of when there is an arbitrage opportunity. People are selling their PGIF into GIF for cheaper than it would cost them to buy GIF off the market, because their PGIF is worth so much more. And there's really only supposed to be a 10 pulse spread between that because of the market dynamic of the protocol. So people are arbitraging from PGIF into GIF, and it's the only liquidity pool I've ever seen in my life where the impermanent loss is the token that's supposed to have the higher intrinsic value and usually is at a higher value. It's the only pool in my life I've ever seen do that, where you want the impermanent loss. So people getting rewarded in PGIF to give up their GIF are happy to do so, and they didn't even have to mint their GIF into PermaGIF to get a bigger bag of it.
Well, that is an interesting part of it too. Yeah, usually, sometimes you want the permanent loss to get one asset more than the other. In this case, you'd be getting the supposedly more valuable asset because it's made of the Pulse and the GIF token. So that's been interesting to see for sure too. By the way, when I click log, I still feel like without logging this, I still feel like this is more resolution just to tell the story of the sell-off and just to be like, okay, it went up really high.
On a percentage basis, yes.
Yeah, it came up. I mean, yeah, the log looks okay too, but it's yeah. Anyways, so yeah, liquidity. I want to talk about the new stuff too, and a little bit of ideas I've had around that. So I did this poll. There's also a poll on the Telegram. Let's see if it'll pop up. People could see. Yay, it does. So you get to see the options and stuff. I think it really came out the same because I only had these three options, but I think Hex still won on the Telegram poll, and then PulseX and Inc were second as well, kind of like on here too. A lot of people are, started the stream saying it sounds like more stuff is coming. I don't imagine you want to make any. I'm not going to assume you want to make any announcements today on such new stuff. However, and correct me if I'm wrong on that at any point. However, I would like to get some idea around the pattern and what you're thinking for which, why pick certain tokens. I know there's like this intention instead of just doing it. I've heard some nuance around that. Also, the pattern that we saw, or I don't know if it's a pattern yet, you guys can tell me, but the 15% buy and burn for PGIF, is that going to continue? What is the framework for new tokens? If we have 3 more, if we have 10 more, if there's 100 more by the end of the year, what is the driving factor for the tokens? And are there any particular patterns that the community, should expect or not expect? Community can reason about and be like, wow, it's really going to be good to be a GIF holder, but it's also going to be really good to be a community member for the other token. That kind of the win-win situation.
You mind if I take this one, GIF? Okay. So if your community or you as a founder want GIF tech applied to your token, prove to us in some way or another that your community is going to adopt this, that they believe in this, they like it. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time, because there's a lot of communities that want this. So I'll just touch on it real quick. Like with iBurn, we've got some great things planned. Maybe they'll come to fruition, maybe they won't, no expectations. But there was just one of those things, we just didn't get the community, the ICOSA community. And I think there's a lot of apprehension to utilize those tokens when there's a V2 coming out, and there's just a lot of mystery and timing that's surrounding that. And we totally understand that, and we feel that. So we would rather, at this point in time, like to build on communities that their community sees there's an actual value to this tech for their token. And we've actually come up with some milestones or some pillars of how you can do that with us. But we just want to see that your community is going to engage. Are you guys going to Are you guys going to have a community burn party? Going back to the burn party, we like the idea of burn parties. Is your community going to participate day one? Are they excited about the tech? Those are the things we're really looking for at this point in time, because there's no point in us wasting time on a community that just is indifferent to us. And I don't mean that as like they're not worthwhile to build on top of. It's just we would just rather have their input. We would like to know that it's something they are seriously considering for their token.
And as far as, again, I think the question out there that people are wondering too, we saw 15% buy and burn for PGIF. Is that going to be standard going forward?
No, I don't think so. I think it would be conditionary upon the communities and their buy-ins and different market sentiments and conditions. I don't want us to paint ourselves into the corner with something like that. It's maybe we choose a higher percentage for another token just so they can prove to us that this is something they really want on their token and they still see value in it, that they want to collaborate with us. And that's really the word, collaboration, that they don't want to just take advantage of this gift tech without having some benefit to the existing communities that are already in gift tech. So I think there's going to be, under different circumstances, different percentage amounts based upon which communities want to participate and which ones. And we really like the communities that already hold GIF. Just saying that. So if you guys are already in our gift chat and you happen to be a big community member in one of these other Telegram chats for one of these other community tokens, then let us know. We'd like to see that.
And also be prepared to be patient, because we're in talks with more than a few communities right now and community leaders. And we've got, I've been building, so we'll be seeing some new stuff. And I think there's kind of like these three different communities like around tokens. There's the founder communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have a founder token and that founder's public, and we can have a conversation with that founder, and we could come to an understanding of how well their community will adopt it, because if the founder's backing us, then the community will back us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the communities that are, say, maybe it's a forked over token, and there's like no founder, and it's all community driven. It's like, all right, cool. Well, let's talk to all those leaders. Let's talk to a group of people, the group of leaders within that community, and let's see how they feel about it, and let's get a temperature feel on them. Then there's also this third type, which is like there is a founder, but that founder is so large that we're probably never going to get a face-to-face conversation with them on how they
Richard Hart.
Hey, I didn't say that.
I've heard that name before. Your cough sounded like a name I've heard before somewhere.
Simpson Barf. That's what I thought. I think I said. Anyways, continue, Giff.
So I mean, those communities are actually a little bit harder to build on, because all it would take is indifference, and then the community split. Maybe half the community's on board, maybe the other half isn't. And it's actually our intention to bring communities together. That's what we've been trying to do from day one. Our admin group is a variety of guys who are in a variety of tokens for a variety of different reasons. And when they get to chatting, sometimes they do it publicly. A lot of times they do it in our mod group. When they get to chatting, it's absolutely fascinating to see them find like common ground on what they believe in and why they're even here in the gift tech community to begin with. And it's awesome to see. So I just want to put the preface down that we're into expanding our community and bringing communities together. We're not into splitting them.
No, yeah, we want to build communities. We want a comprehensive. This is PulseChain. This isn't name your token chain. So I would like to see. There's just so much divisiveness between the different groups right now, and I tend to get along with all of them, and I want to see them all get along as well. I mean, if you guys think you're helping your bags bitching at each other and trying to call out straw man arguments against each other on Twitter, I promise you that is not bringing people in. It's not making your tokens more valuable. That's all I'll say on that. But if we can bring these communities together and comprehensively work together, that's ideal, especially if the end result is either directly or indirectly helping the core coins on this chain.
You know, a double buy and burn for PulseX. No one's built on ink yet. What happens when people start burning on ink? Are these things that, you know, if GiftTech were applied to, like, can you see it reinvigorating the community and getting them excited again about like something cool happening to their favorite coins?
I think the ink token is really interesting play because mainly because, you know, it's all being minted right every day for paying out yields. And there just so happens to be some pretty big whales who are accumulating a majority of that. So if you've got a whale that owns a huge portion of it and it's not a founder, is that whale technically a founder of that token? Like, does he not have founder level bags? So that's a really interesting play. I'll just leave it at that.
It's interesting. What if there was a team that came up with some new tech and then they've already got some other ideas for some new tech to build on their new tech that compounded the tech? Would that tech be interesting to everybody? So I'm just throwing that out there. Just, you know, I'm thinking out loud. I think out loud. You see me talk slow because I'm thinking while I'm talking.
Continue to think, sir. We like people who think. think it's good. Not overthinking. Like, just think just enough to be like, maybe that's something that yeah. I mean, the community has so many questions, and it's one of those. You know, what did you all learn from the first application with ICOSA, with iBurn? Has anything changed going forward as far as building on the new application? Like, was there anything really good? Like, oh, okay, we didn't quite understand that. We did the experiment. Now we know, you know, maybe something will change in the future depending on the next deployments.
Probably just the people we did talk to in private seemed very excited about it. And there's one in particular that at least knew about it that is very well known. And I won't say their name here. And it's okay that nothing was said publicly. But and we had a lot, like I was the trail I was going down was that we had a lot of people behind the scenes that were excited. They're like, oh my goodness, you're gonna be a pegging mechanism in which to peg an ERC20 and a PRC20. This thing we've been talking about since 2 years before PulseChain even became a thing, and when Richard Hart started talking about exactly that. And so with this pegging of an asset, we had so many people excited. And then just to see people use that as an opportunity rather than use the protocol and really take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity that would have incentivized them to do other actions than they did, saw it as an opportunity for a token that really hasn't done anything over the last year to pump a little bit, to take a little bit of profits out of the system. That was the disappointing thing. But at the same time, you know, it was just a confirmation to us as a team that people are going to do what's in their own self-interest, or at least perceived self-interest, if they're not thinking through all the mechanisms and how it could have benefited them greater had they had understood the system and how it could have helped them long term.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on top of that, the community adoption, that was an unknown experiment. That experiment happened after the fact because, you know, and some guys pointed it out in the Pulsar chat. After we launched iBurn, I was like, okay, I think that's it. I don't think we really have any other experiments to do. We're going to move forward on Pulsar. But then the bigger experiment became obvious, which was the community adoption experiment. But let's first talk about the successful experiments. Successful experiment number one is is actually like getting the two tokens from two different chains to parity. And honestly, even right now, if you just look at it in wrap PLS, you're looking at 1200 wrap PLS per Icosa on native PulseChain and 1100 from Icosa from Ethereum. Like that is really close. Like they used to be pretty far apart, and we had it. We had it right there. We had it right there, and all it would take is some community backing, some founders backing, some enthusiasm, and we could have done some pretty amazing things. But that's okay. Experiment success. Experiment number 2 is, could we drive up, at least momentarily, drive up the value of Icosa to kickstart the HSI auction? Boom, we did it. Experiment success. And remember, we did these two things without the backing of the community.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine what we could have done. So that's awesome. That pumped the price of EHEX a little bit, right? Because people started arbitraging the Icosa system. So fantastic stuff. It's really cool to see your theories kind of play out in real time and actually work. I wish there was a little bit more, excitement around what we were doing.
Or participation.
But
I'm going to say participation.
Yeah, participation. When it's your baby, you kind of expect people to appreciate it more than maybe they should. I don't know. But those were huge successes. And in addition, when you're talking about the percentages of what goes to the, we'll just call it the native protocol and what goes to like PGIF, we saw that you could absolutely increase the percentage because with GIF to PGIF was at 10%. And then when you look at PGIF and iBurn, it was at 15%. And I see no reason to try higher percentages. In addition, I'm currently working on what I believe to be an extra innovative layer. I'm not going to go into.
We're not going to talk about it, GIF.
Thank you, Hammer. I appreciate it. I needed you there. But I'm just saying, as time goes on, you think you know all the experiments you want to run. And then as you're running experiments, you realize new and potentially more impactful things you want to try. And so, I mean, these are all in the cards. I mean, I probably look a little tired because I was up late last night. I was up early this morning working on this stuff. And and it's looking good right now. It's looking real good. So hopefully we'll be seeing some new things coming up. But to answer your question, like we succeeded in every experiment we went in trying to prove, and we found a new experiment that we now can optimize for future deployments, as well as new experiments altogether that we're going to implement. So things are looking good over here. As long as I get enough sleep, I'm very happy.
Sleep coin. Got to make that sleep with code. Sleep with no. Work on that
with code.
Yeah.
I just want to give a giant shout out to Marco the Hexagon. This guy is not afraid to take slings and arrows for people doing good things out there. Much love to you, brother. Straight from the heart. I am so grateful just to have you in this community, not just the gift community, but the PulseChain community, knocking heads around, not afraid to tell people when they're just not thinking things through, and being the defender of others. That's huge, man. You got a huge heart, brother. Love you. Shout out to you.
I think it takes something too, not to be swayed by, popular opinion or whatever at the time, or people have different opinions. To me, it's like, I see a product. I want things to help the core coins. I like DeFi. So, I've heard criticisms back and forth of all this stuff. And I'm just like, what I believe is right. Like what I believe is good, I'm going to do that. I don't need, I've heard all the other stories. I haven't heard any actual legit criticisms of this project. I think all the ones I've heard has just been easily explained or otherwise. So yeah, I mean, it's just shout out to everyone who's just like, no, you believe something's right. You're going to go, vote with your time, vote with the people and help people who you think are doing good things to succeed or get exposure.
Yeah, but you also spent the time to do your own research and really think things out critically, and you ask critical questions. Like you really, well, what have you guys thought about on this? And what have you thought about on that? And that is huge. Like you literally tried to dissect this, and you took a very scientific approach to it that this is the hypothesis. Let's go try to disprove. That's the real scientific method, is to try to disprove your hypotheses. And you were in there trying to tear this apart. Show me the bad side. Continue asking questions, trying to reveal what, if any, are the downsides to this. And you really, it was an echo of the conversations we had internally with the team over months and months. And we appreciate you too, brother. Thanks for actually taking the time to look into it and try to break it down.
Of course. Yeah. Like I said, it's just, I like to get information and then come up with the answer. And the answer for this one has been, show me what's wrong about it. It seems like a good thing. I want, if this is built on 10 or 20 new projects, like, how is that anything but good? Like, what is the bad that comes from 10 or 20 more iBurns that, help the other communities burn their coins and help the holders of the GIF ecosystem? Like, what's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with it.
The big one that I'm like, man, you really don't understand this, is value extraction, taking attention away from the core tokens. And it's quite the opposite, actually. It's like, these people already have these bags of these tokens that they really like. They just want to make those bags of the tokens that they already have and already like, they want to make them better. So it's actually a value add. And then in the case of iBurn, it actually spawned some EHEX buying, because EICOSA was worthwhile to trade your 555 hex HSIs into to get the ICOSA and buy back more hex than you had originally. So if that's a negative externality on on one of the core coins, EHEX, then I'll take that all day long. I'll take that loss all day long if that's a negative externality.
Yeah, I mean, the results so far with the experiments, like Giff said, success. So I think it's we'll get into the community aspect a little bit. Just to wrap up on iBurn though. A lot of people also have been asking, I've seen it in Telegram stuff too, what about Hedron V2? What's going to happen? Is this going to be affected? All that stuff. Let's say whenever it happens, what do people do with iBurn? Or, what is there any issue or anything you guys think of?
Not really. I mean, that's the nice thing about building with intent and not painting yourself in the corner, is that there can always be more built onto it. There can always be more flywheels built into the gear.
That's a new t-shirt. There can always be more fly gears built into the gear. Flywheels built into the gear. I want to talk about the liquidity too, and just the different coins. I think this will go well with the conversation. Let's say every 3 to 6 weeks, 369. Every 3 to 6 weeks, there's a new coin comes out, new burning thing, whatever. Again, we're just being theoretical here. And every time it comes out, maybe you'll say the community, everything goes good. Oh, they're adding liquidity. Oh, people are burning it. People are minting. There's arbitrage. System's working great. And over a period of time, there's 10 different deployments of Permabull on different tokens around the community. And everyone's loving it. There's liquidity here and all this stuff, and everything's tied, getting tied together and all that. Does that, we talked about there's been low liquidity before for selling. Hey, you can use LP to for things to go in whatever direction you want to do too. But can you all see a future where there are so many of these tokens that are the Permabull there, and the communities themselves are incentivized when they participate to provide liquidity? And there is this kind of is that how coins, the Permabull protocols on PulseChain, is that how they get to this well-oiled functioning machine around liquidity? What are your all's thoughts on what does that look like once, if we have a bunch of protocols built around this? How does it look differently than today?
Well, when it comes to liquidity in general, and this is something we actually talked about, Max, a year ago, with our 100% uptimes and stuff, we talk about liquidity on Hedron and ICOSA a lot. And, one thing I said back then that I still stand by is there's a real Goldilocks zone for liquidity providing. There really is. You can overdo the LP and prevent real good gains from happening. And you can also under LP and basically not allow anybody to exit with any profits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this, it's on a scale. I really believe it's on a scale, and it all has to come down to supply and demand ultimately. and that Goldilocks period will slide with how much demand is in the token, both on the buy side and on the sell side. And as long as you're allowing people with, I mean, right now you could have a shark position and you could exit pretty easily in GIF. That's not a big problem. So if you're talking a shark positions can exit, like that's a pretty big deal. And you know, our pullback, and see, the way I see that last pullback was, I think there was a lot of people making life-changing wealth in that.
Yes.
I think there was a lot of people who were buying in very early stages. I've received a lot of DMs of people saying they bought the token just because they knew who I was. And they were just like, oh, that's a gift token? I'm just going to buy a little. I'm just going to buy a little just because, right? And then they turn around and they take profit on that huge upswing. And they're like, dude, like that changed my family's life this year. Like that was amazing. So when I see those big pullbacks, I don't get angry. I think that people are really making good wealth and they're changing their lives. And it's our job as developers and founders to see that we find a floor and we rebuild structure within the chart as best as we can. And the best way to do that is to speak truth to our community so that we can all kind of work together to make that happen.
Well said.
Is there anything to, again, just can't help but think that once, you know, we so many different directions here. So there's the infrastructure layer, there's like the tech layer, you know, you got Pulsar, I think is the infrastructure side. You guys talked about that a little bit before, I believe. And just Gift Tech, this piece of like the tech part, the Permabull, proving it, all that. What is again, once everything gets built out, will there be this like kind of, I don't know how to describe it, web of liquidity, like this sort of like more positive feedback loops within just the pools and stuff? I feel like there's some theory, there's some experiment to do there. I just don't quite know what it is.
I wouldn't worry about too much in specifics right now, because as I was saying, we're experimenting and we're learning new things as we go. But just to put something in a generalized manner, we've talked about one of the pillars that we've always been building and designing around, as in no leaky ship, right? So just think about all the leaky ships that exist and know that we are always trying to fix those leaks and to do what they do, but do it without a leaky ship syndrome.
We're the team on the little rubber dinghy driving around to all these different ships trying to patch the holes in them. Trying to build a more robust ecosystem as a whole.
Your rubber gun, your rubber.
Yep.
I said the G word. Your rubber water pistol. That's I'm thinking of like a caulking gun at this point, by the way, not anything else. But you're fixing all the leaky shit. Like everyone's like, no, just poke a hole right here. I'm like, no, I will not. It's against my principles.
Well, I was thinking more a welder, something a little more permanent. We're bringing the steel plates and patching them over and welding it on.
Okay. All right. Another question people ask a lot too is if it's better to hold GIF or PGIF. What is the benefits of holding? This is like I feel like this question is going to go on forever. Why would somebody hold GIF and why would somebody hold PGIF?
Hey, let's do this. I'll give my opinion on it, and then KNTX is going to elaborate for me. Okay. PGIF and GIF are the same token.
Mm-hmm. That's it. They're one and the same. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only difference is when PGIF goes over the GIF plus 10 pulse price, it is in your best interest to sell that into Pulse, buy more GIF, and have some extra Pulse on top of the protocol fee it costs you to turn it into PGIF, on top of that in profit. And then when PGIF does it again, those who hold GIF can just pay a 10 Pulse protocol fee to turn it into PGIF and take advantage of that arbitrage over again. So it doesn't matter if you're sitting in PGIF or if you're holding GIF, they're literally the same token.
This may be the only question I don't want a technical answer on. Like the philosophy behind it though. Like it's almost like GIF is a thing that gets burned and PGIF also gets burned, but also, and it gets burned. It could be burned over and over with multiple protocols and stuff. But GIF is how you get to PGIF. So it's almost like people were thinking, if I hold GIF, I'll always have like the power to mint, and PGIF is like the result. Like PGIF's like the trophy almost, and like GIF is like the essence of life, giving life to PGIF. That like you're holding the creation tool, the hammer. I don't know, there's some analogy. Get philosophical with me for a minute though. No technical answers.
So, well, I'm not getting philosophical with you, but
get your scroll out. Get philosophical. You can do it.
Say a bunch of people see this stream, and they get excited about GIF and PGIF, and they see that the liquidity is bigger with if you're going to buy using Pulse, you're going to buy GIF, and so you're going to get less slippage. It's a great opportunity to get less slippage into it. But there's this huge pool of GIF, PGIF out there that when it doesn't make sense to mint your GIF into PGIF, you can still turn it directly through that pool into PGIF and actually do the system a solid by getting the more inherently valued token, intrinsic valued token, PGIF, for less of your GIF than if you were to run it through the protocol, push that PGIF price back up, and the system self-corrects itself. Because a lot of people, when they see this, they're going to run out and buy GIF, not PGIF. We've seen this. We know this is going to be the case. And so when GIF outruns PGIF, why wouldn't you use your GIF to acquire more of the higher intrinsic value token that has all the flywheels to all the other tokens that are already built?
I think that's the best answer I've heard for why hold GIF is if there is ARB opportunity, you can benefit from swapping over, because it's like, why not just hold GIF? If you think it's going to roughly track PGIF, why not just hold GIF? Because you know it's always going to be, I mean, other than arbitrage in your favor, for example.
Here's a point that I talked about last time, but let me elaborate more on it because I think it addresses that thought process. So GIF started at 1 billion tokens. The max total, if all of it gets burnt for PGIF, is 1 billion tokens, but we know there's a buy and burn that's making that deflationary. So the total supply of both tokens can only be 1 billion, but that supply is constantly going down. Do you know what the key is? Is just pure numbers. Like, buy the one that gets you more tokens. That has always been kind of the game in crypto anyways, right?
Yes. If they're the same token, which one gets you more tokens? I like that.
Well, you've also got to liquidity. We saw earlier, there's much more PGIF on the market than GIF. So another idea would be, if there's always going to be less GIF out there than PGIF, and I can always make more PGIF, what am I making this into never mint PGIF again right now?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you want to be holding the PGIF when all the flywheels start rolling. I mean, so I want to be PGIF heavy. But
you can always make it, even if it's burning PGIF, you can always make that PGIF again, and
yeah, but if I can, each other. But if the market is tracking your sentiment and they're buying more GIF, and now the price of GIF is higher than PGIF, and PGIF has the flywheels and the higher intrinsic value, I, as a new buyer, should be able to use logic and reasoning and say, I'm going to buy more of that one because I can get more for the same price.
Cheaper. If GIF is up here and PGIF is down here, and you're saying at any time I could mint my PGIF with my GIF,
I meant the same value.
Yeah. Look at your value of your GIF and the Pulse, right? That goes into minting that PGIF, and you could have just bought more off the market of PGIF than actually minting. And that's just because that's what happened at that current time of sentiment on the market. I mean, obviously it can go the other way, but then that's when you start the arbitrage flywheel. So, so it's, I'm going to stick to my theories on this. I think they are the same token, and I think it's about a unit bias, and that's it. Like, how do you get the most tokens? Because in the end, we know what the total supply is, and we know that total supply is going. It has been deflationary since Permabull came out and has no intention of slowing down.
I just think if you look at it as them being the same token, the market, though, there's that side. There's the technical side of, okay, it's the same thing plus Pulse. But also there's the market side of, like, which one can I get? And I was talking about when I said, well, if you can always make it and there's less GIF available, that would be like one that would incentivize me to hold on to my GIF. But also I want GIF to be more valuable, so that incentivizes me to burn it, which is minting PGIF. So it's kind of like maybe the answer is just there's like even if there is a 10%, even if it's 10% better to hold GIF, it doesn't really matter because you're always going to want to burn it in the first place. So it's like maybe it kind of turns into just not an interesting question at the end of it. Maybe that's the answer. I'm gonna go with that. See, you guys could do it. I knew you could do it. I knew you could get philosophical for a moment. I told you. KNTX refused, and then he thought, no, there's more to this. We'll look at chat in just a minute. I got a couple other questions. You guys entertained? Are you learning?
It's funny if you're using Pateus, and for the same amount of pulse that you could buy when PGIF is lower than GIF, when GIF is higher, using Pateus is going to route through the pools that gets you the best order execution. And for that same 1 million pulse that you were going to spend on GIF, you could get more PGIF. Especially, have you not seen the PGIF GIF pool that it can order execute through there and get you a higher token amount of PGIF than GIF? It's to me as a logical actor in this. If I'm looking at it without emotion and I'm looking at that unit bias, they're technically almost the same. They are the same token, and I can get more PGIF. Why would you not go with that? Especially if you're a new entrant into the market. It's funny because all Pateus is going to do is buy GIF with the thicker liquidity, then go through the thickest liquidity, which is the GIF PGIF, and get you more PGIF. Just going to throw that out there because I don't really want to extrapolate on it.
I think there's definitely some replay gang in this one, as far as a little conversation, some little things everyone go back and watch too after we're finished. So I just want to put this tweet up too from K4K talking about that was just, it went from 12% to in one day to 22.5%. And that right before my tweet, I made a tweet. I was like, oh, that's a really good, concise tweet about the stats. And then like an hour later, it was old. I was like, crap, let me go add that on there.
Yeah. That is one benevolent actor right there.
Wow. So
I will buy you a beer. Come forward. Talk to me.
Is it? So just to clarify for people too, it wasn't even profitable to do so at the time. They basically spent PLS to make the community better. Is that basically what happened?
I don't know. I can't tell you what they were thinking, but what I can tell you is that there's been discussions of new flywheels being added to this going forward. Maybe they saw some intrinsic value in almost front running the market on it. But we haven't put any timelines out, so I can't tell you what that person was thinking at the moment they hit that button.
Oh yeah, Marco wants you to pull up the chart so we can show the 10 plus PLS difference.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, I can do that. So
yeah, that is a sticky point. Marco's right. For some reason, new entrants into the market really get stuck on this part.
Oh, hey, Max, hit the multi-chart button. That's kind of a cool little feature to show everybody on stream. Multi-chart.
Where that? Show me.
Where it says on the left side.
It says,
where it says
it's
multi-chart.
the third one down from watch list, alerts, multi-charts. Under get the app. It's directly under the search bar.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay,
it's pretty
nice.
Cool.
I did not know that. And then, yeah, it's awesome.
And then, yeah, go ahead. That's fine. And then go ahead and click. Make sure, like, you got to use the little scroll over button. This might be actually harder to tell you where it's at. You see the little blue candlesticks? Yeah. See
hit that arrow. Don't click on that.
Click out of there.
Oh. Yeah, click out of there anywhere.
No.
but not there. Anywhere but there. Click anywhere on the chart other than there.
There you go.
Yeah,
There's
you
an arrow.
see that arrow? Just hover over. See the arrow to the right? Yeah, click on that. And then click on the pulse. There you go.
That's what you're trying to tell me. Okay.
Good
I
job.
watched this religiously. Oh, well, some smart buyer, we're not saying buy this thing. I'm definitely not saying buy this thing. But some smart buyer is going to see, oh, PGIF has the intrinsic value and all the flywheels tied to it, but GIF is a higher pulse price right now.
Boom.
Maybe I could get more PGIF for the same dollar value than I would if I were to buy GIF.
It just went up.
Yeah. So
you
can just quickly look at these two charts, right? And look at the difference. And whenever you see the PGIF value in Pulse there, if it's more than 10 PLS over GIF, then that's what starts the arbitrage play, or the most direct arbitrage play of burning GIF for PGIF and profiting from the difference. I think that's what you were looking for, Marco. Let us know if you want to go deeper on that.
I think he's 100% correct on that. That it gets sticky for people in there for some reason, that they don't understand the arbitrage opportunity, where that comes from, and it is that 10 pulse difference. So right now, PGIF should be 1,162.58 pulse per PGIF, and so once it hit, that's its ceiling price. So that's the cost of GIF plus the protocol fee to mint should be the PGIF price. Sometimes PGIF is lower and it's a better buy. Sometimes it's higher and you should be finding an equilibrium of the sell down out of PGIF and into GIF. You got to find the equilibrium too. So a lot of people will sell it down to the ceiling price and then go buy GIF and push it back up above. That's, or not the PGIF, but the GIF will come up higher than it should be to imbalance that ceiling again with PGIF. So you got to find the equilibrium. I think the sweet spot that a lot of our communities really, because I haven't taken a lot of these arbitrage opportunities because I wanted to leave some meat on the bone for the community, and they absolutely love this stuff. And why not? I mean, it pays you to do it. If you're going to be looking at charts all day anyway, why not get paid to do it? The sweet spot typically is about 13. Once PGIF gets over 13, it covers all your pulse transaction costs, depending on how small or large the chunks of PGIF is that you're selling and how big the chunks of GIF are that you're buying back. But about 13 is really where you can find, if you're doing small amounts at a time, you can pick up more GIF and some extra PLS above and beyond what you paid into the protocol to mint PGIF. So it's about 13. So right now, if it was 1,170, there'd be a great arbitrage opportunity for people to go from PGIF into GIF.
So the two main arbitrage is if GIF is less than PGIF, and then if PGIF is more than 10 PLS or 13 PLS, for example, than GIF.
Yes, that sounds right.
That makes sense to no one. There's an infographic that I
no,
shared.
that sounds right.
You can also see it visually. Win more visuals, community.
Yeah.
I say that and I'm like, well, you could make one. I'm like, well, it's true. Yeah, this one. This is one of them. There's a couple floating around out there. I've tried to put them on Twitter as well. But yeah, scenarios. Does Permabull make a lot of other protocols obsolete? Like, is this, and you guys see this being like, hey, if you don't have this type of buy and burn, like, why you build a new project? Like, is it going to be like this clear ask or expectation in the community for new stuff to be like, yeah, that'd be nice if I had a buy and burn. We have the tech. Why isn't this there?
I mean, it's kind of one of the easiest things to bolt on to like any token.
That's what I was going to say. Is continue experimenting with new tech. And if all else fails, maybe Gift Tech can come in and fix the leaky boat that you didn't foresee before you tried your new experiment.
Or just an expansion. You could have like a rock solid price chart. You could have a rock solid community. You could be doing everything right. And it's like, why would I not add nitrous to my car that's already really fast? Right? Or why would I not bolt on a turbo because I don't want to go that fast? or I
Yeah.
don't want to add any more mechanics to my current system. Like it's very hard for me to anticipate, other than like, unless you're like a CST guy and you deal with stable coins. Like I have no desire to ever burn stable coins, especially when they're
Nope.
redeemable, right? But that's like really the only scenario. I really want to test and play with reflection tokens. I really want to test and play with 404 tokens. Like there's a lot of landscape for us to continually test and build upon. And I would think that most founders would want to see some of this be innovated on their project first, and let them be set apart from their direct competitors.
What is it, and people out there who have been in GIF for a while, or just those new, I think it's applicable to both, but you talked about burning parties and stuff earlier too. How can the community, not just their community, but just anyone who's participating, whether it's communities of future tokens or people just GIF and PGIF holders and stuff too, how is it they can pump their bags here? Like, how is it they can incentivize burning? Like, what are the ways for people to actually contribute here, on the blockchain of doing stuff? Is it just burn parties, or is there more than that?
There's a lot more than just burn parties. I mean, educating your community, how this tech works, why it can be a value add to an already existing token, especially one that people already have, like, and want to see do well. Burn parties are nice because you're feeding the buy and burn, and you're showing people that, hey, I really believe in this asset. So I think it's just more of a community cult ritual, to put it kindly. But it's you're showing people on the blockchain, hey, it wasn't profitable for me to do it at this time, or even if it is at the time profitable to do so, I still believe in this project, and I'm engraving it on the blockchain forever that I believe that this tech is going to work and it's going to help my token that I love.
Do you think so? The superpower, I've kind of been thinking about this the last couple of days, the superpower of being able to get communities incentivized to, again, as you talked about, adding this either add-on or building it with a new coin or whatever, getting them to be like, hey, this is a good idea. Like coming to the conclusion of that, is that, we have the mechanics, we have that side of the GIF ecosystem and the protocols and stuff too, but the social aspect of this with the communities, is that one of GIF's superpowers of, like, again, being able to bring communities together and being like, hey, there's a win-win. There's a win for the GIF community, and there's a win for any other community that wants to come in and participate. Is that something you all thought of from the beginning, or did it kind of just manifest over time?
I think it was pretty obvious when we kind of, a lot of Hexkins, PulseKins were engaging with the Titan X community. I think that's when it became really obvious, because there was a lot of, maybe outside noise coming from, outside of, I don't know. It's hard to explain. The easiest way to put it is, for the first time, we were all seeing people from multiple different communities all kind of coming together to talk about this one, like, kind of mechanic or series of mechanic levers that we saw over there. And it was refreshing. It was really refreshing, because you go back 4 years ago and you look at the way that our, like, primarily like the Hex community was and how united they were. And you fast forward and you realize that, man, we lost some momentum there. There was some momentum lost that would be great to get back together again. And it doesn't need to be centralized around like one specific community. We can bring multiple communities back into the fold again. And I think just getting all of our communities like talking to each other again, and getting founders talking to each other and bouncing ideas off of each other and coming up with new mechanics and new experiments and new things to do. Like, let's innovate where we can, right? There's always going to be a place for meme tokens and NFTs and all the other stuff. That's never going to go away. But on the innovation side, let's lead by example, and let's bring a lot of fresh eyeballs to PulseChain. I'll tell you straight up, there are some Ethereum devs that have been playing around with PulseChain for the first time ever that are really getting involved, that never would have touched it if it wasn't for Giftech. That never would have even known it existed. But now they're watching it. Now they're being like, oh yeah, where's the bridge? How do I get on? Like, you know, stuff like that. And it should be bullish for our entire community as people who support PulseChain in general.
Yep.
Does it just feel, you think it'd be different if, you know, the prices were up? Pulse already did a 10x, and like, does it feel more like PvP right now? Like everyone's just kind of like, they just want to get gains. They have their token. They want that token. They don't want to get another token, even if, and they feel like each token is taken away from another one. Is that that kind of feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a scarcity mindset. It's oh no, if they buy that token or they interact with that contract, then there's going to be less buyers of this thing that I think is better, even though there may be arguments for why their sense of why that is better is incorrect. So yeah, it is very much, I mean, going back to what I said early on, is you can always expect people to do what's in their own best interest. That's the one constant, especially in crypto, any markets really. And so if they see other people glomming onto something that isn't their thing, they get frustrated and they get upset that, why not my token? My token's better. It becomes very tribalistic in that regard. It's a scarcity mindset.
Yeah. I got a question here from Jayco. Is iBurn going to follow more or less the same behavior as GIF and PGIF?
Long tail, I don't see why not. Long tail, I think as our track record, time, we talked about this, and I'm a big believer in it, is that time is the one that reveals all things. And so good ideas, bad ideas, time will reveal them. And I think as our track record starts to speak more over time, people will start to see the beauty behind what we've built, or maybe they won't. The market will decide. We've got rational and irrational players within this market. And so long tail, I see the potential of iBurn being similar to GIF and PGIF. Absolutely. Because the mechanisms are very similar. The only difference is you have two tokens to choose between to make it this Permabull asset known as iBurn. It's the only difference.
Well, in the price, I would say, but the price appreciation is probably tied. I mean, it's tied more to ICOSA than it would be to GIF. So it's kind of like which one, you know, from here, for example, which one, a good problem to have, which one do you think is more bullish for, GIF or ICOSA or all that stuff too? They all have their own, well, Hex, what if Hex goes, like Hex needs to go up for ICOSA? You know, I like that kind of like different pieces to it too with the derivatives and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got a different protocol fee that feeds a different amount to the buy and burn. You've got a less circulating supply of ICOSA. Quite honestly, I mean, there's already less circulating supply of ICOSA than there is GIF from its onset. And I think we were still at what, 26% of the eICOSA wrapped over to PulseChain has been
26.
burnt already in the iBurn contract. So if that isn't, to me, that's bullish. I'm not gonna put words in other people's mouths, but more than a quarter of the supply that exists on this chain is gone. I just look at it more of as a sentiment of people understanding the tech, seeing that there is a way to interact with the protocol that incentivizes you to do so. I think they're very similar, GIF and iBurn. I mean, they're almost exact in, or they're almost identical in that regard. So yeah, there's different, there's different components to it, and they work just a little bit differently with the different protocol fees and having two assets versus one. And then people also have, ICOSA, a long-term ICOSA chart to look at too. They see what ICOSA used to be worth, and they think, oh, there's potential it could get back there, especially if you add rocket fuel to it. And so in some ways, I'm more bullish on iBurn than I am GIF and PGIF, but that's hard because everything feeds PGIF. So as far as the buy and burn's concerned, so I'm up in the air between the two. I like them both. You can't make me choose between my two babies. Okay, you're not gonna make me choose between them.
Gotcha. Again, awesome new website. I see at the bottom here, other than this running to the moon astronaut guy, which is pretty cool. I see add GIF to MetaMask, add PGIF to MetaMask, add iBurn to MetaMask. A lot more coming. What does that mean?
Too many experiments to be had.
There's a lot.
And what I love about it is I've got my preconceived ideas, but I want to hear what the founders who want us to come build on them, I want to hear what their ideas are. We've already been getting some that are going to pay dividends, I think, like generically speaking. So I'm excited. I'm excited to expand it. See where this all takes us.
Is it when you're thinking about, because you got the 3 tokens right now, GIF, PGIF, and iBurn. When people are thinking about getting into this new, what do you think is going through their mind as far as like, if it's their community or not their community? It's like, I'm just going to buy all the burn tokens, where I don't know if they're going to be called. Are they going to be called like, HBurn and CBurn? And is that a naming convention now?
Not necessarily. I think it really just comes down to, a lot of it is wordplay. Like, we want to come up with good names, and we want to work with the communities to come up with those names. I don't want to just have something super generic, but we know what the pillars of our kind of ethos is. So as long as it jives well with the ethos, then I don't see any reason why we couldn't just come up with clever names.
Sounds like HBuy is next for HexBuy if you do Hex. Just rotate between buy and burn. and ink is next in ink. But yeah, what is when people are thinking about this, is it, hey, I know the thing's gonna be burned, I know PGIF's gonna be burned, or do you think they're gonna go more towards their community of like, hey, I got to get a bunch of, or it's not even their community, it's just some other community, like it could be any other token, or it could be ink, for example. You think there's going to be like a run on ink because I want to get more ink, so I compare it with Pulse to mint, in burn or whatever it is, for example. If that happened, what kind of effects and how do you think people are going to respond based on, like, what are they incentivized to do, I guess? Like, what are people incentive system with all these tokens?
I'm waiting for you, Giff.
I mean, I'll give you the frustrating answer, but it's the answer that I love the most, is without speculation, there is no price appreciation. There just isn't. So we all just kind of have to speculate on where this is all taking us and what the grander vision may or may not be, or how that grand vision may change as we learn new things. It's all a moving like goalpost, really.
We talked about liquidity and the community aspect. The new token, the tech is, something that can just keep being built and stuff too. What is the other? Is there another side that you guys in your lab thinking about? And again, it doesn't have to be specific technology or anything, but just, is there another vertical where you think that Permabull is really going to shine outside of community and outside of the, liquidity aspect that could be interesting with it and all that?
Yes. Next question.
I was just gonna say, Max, did you go to journalism school? Because you're really good at this.
I got people watching here. They want answers, and I want answers too. More. This is a selfish thing too. I want to have time with the founders to ask them questions, and hopefully they give me some sort of answer that I can use to have a better picture of the product. So no, I did not go to journalism school. However, I did get pretty good grades in writing and arithmetic. I'll say that, or writing and reading. Arithmetic, yeah, it's okay.
Just yes.
This can be the last question if you guys actually answer. Like I feel like there's some. Yeah, I mean, again, we talk about liquidity, communities, the dynamics, the game mechanics, the protocol itself, the code, the deployment, the chain it's on. What else is there? What other factor is there that can be improved with this kind of tech, or could be interesting that the community could be like, oh, that's another piece that I'm interested in.
You can't reveal everything right now. I want to tell you everything.
It doesn't have to be specific.
It
doesn't have to be specific tech. It can just be like a vertical that you all have been thinking of.
I would like to see us in the future more directly influence core tokens. And maybe there will be new, not just protocols, but actual platforms in which that's possible.
Max is declining money right now.
Yes, he is.
You're
welcome, chat. Not only do I try to ask the best questions, I don't even monetize for it. Yeah, you're welcome. Don't thank me. Don't thank me. I'm going to pretend to be satisfied. I do look at the bottom of this and I see the website update and I think, is this just going to turn into just a whole bunch of boxes? Is that going to be a bunch of boxes? Is there going to be like another platform that you're going to like submit your token and get an automatic buy and burn? Like there's all these like different verticals that are not only engage the community, but really, again, if you go back to the fundamentals of the stuff, it is just value, locking up value and healthy games. That's what I like about it so much. So I know there's more to it.
Well, we wanted to keep you guys. We wanted to keep you guys engaged with your own speculations and your own art. This is a murder mystery, guys. You guys are here for the dinner, but you also get to have fun trying to figure this thing out too, with us as we go along. Yes, the KNTX. Wish I could tell you is back. I wish I could tell you guys about it. It's just that without getting specific, it's really difficult to answer that question. It is very difficult.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yes, Moondog, best comment. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just want to touch on something real quick. We've actually already, and we're not going to say the name of it or anything, but we've already seen somebody try to fork part of our code and use it as a scam site to scam people. So make sure you're following KNTX or myself or Max. Make sure you're checking the website. If we do launch anything and it does come out of the blue, make sure you check your resources before you start jumping on something that sounds like we made it, right? Or somebody told you that it's from us, right? Make sure you know how to check. And if you're in our ecosystem and you're interested in this stuff, you got to do your work on that side. You got to make sure you have your channel set up so that if you catch wind of something, you know where to look to verify.
Yes, 100%. The best place to do that right now is to come into our Telegram chat. You ask for contract address. Rose is going to give the contract addresses to you. That is the best place right now.
Another question here too. I think we already answered it, but yeah, that conversation we had about gift versus p-gift turned out to be more interesting than I thought it'd be. Pretty good.
Yes, it is.
All right, guys. I think I've got as much as I could out of this.
We made it, Gift. We got people scamming trying to scam our community. We've made it. That means we've made it, right? So.
Well, I thought you were going to say they actually like because the code itself, yeah, the interface is not. I guess I assume it's not open source, but the contract code is out there. Have you guys seen anyone else try to launch another contract that is the Permabull yet?
Well, there's just the one scammer, but then there's also people looking at using our mechanics, which is like our I don't even know how to answer that. Hey, Ken, you take over.
Well, good luck. It's more complicated than you think. It's harder to see than just what you can see in the code on the contract on the block explorer. And good luck with being second mover. I don't know if there's an advantage to being second mover versus first mover advantage. So good luck to you guys. I wish the maddest of gains for everyone. Don't screw up and lose people a lot of money trying to fork something you don't fully understand because you can't see it all.
I'm just very excited about this tech in general, guys. I think, I don't know, maybe we swung too far and everything is a meme coin. Utility doesn't make price go up. None of it really matters. Territory. I'm glad Gift Tech is like bringing back DeFi. One of the projects that are not only the tech and the price performance. I mean, we have plenty of DeFi products on PulseChain, and I'm sure we'll build some more. But this is one of the ones where I'm like, oh, it's really helping people. At least it's helping me believe in like, wow, we're actually going to do some DeFi stuff here. This is not just going to be this, again, what I came here for. Everyone came here for different reasons. Everyone likes different things, whatever. Everyone teaches their own. But I get very gratified by seeing people actually building stuff that is like up the alley of things I'm interested in. So the nerd in me gets excited. The price chart don't look too bad. Breathing some fresh air back into DeFi. I think that's another t-shirt right there. Gift Tech, breathing fresh air into DeFi. There you go. I keep coming up with new t-shirts, man. I have to make some. Never know. Gents, any final words? Again, you've vowed to not reveal anything new, which I said you didn't have to. I said you didn't have to do that. You talk about whatever you want. But anything.
Just real quick, I want to just give a shout out to our community. Number one, our mods, Elite, Mo, Mole, all you guys like have been awesome. All you guys just in the chats regularly talking, all you guys on Twitter, like answering questions, all you guys who are providing fantastic LP, like it goes on and on and on. And this is one of the things I Max knows, I've talked about this. My core team knows, I've told them, I don't really like coming out and streaming. I don't like educating. I want to educate a circle of guys, and then I want them to educate everybody else, right? Because I want everybody to understand that you don't have to just come to one guy to get all your answers.
How decentralized is you?
Yeah, it should be. The leadership should be decentralized, right?
Yeah.
Or at least that should be our goal. Like we should always be working towards that direction. So shout out to my core team, number one. Sorry, I don't do that enough. KNTX and Kool-Aid, RG3, all you guys, man. We have like kind of an extended team. Those dudes are awesome. You know who you are. The devs out there that you guys have never even heard of before that reach out to me and want to work with me. Those dudes are awesome. Like I could go on and on and on about how solid this community is because there is no hierarchy, really. There really isn't. You bring something to the table, you're part of the team, man. That's just the way it is.
Well, actually, one more question, quick, Tim. Just before we get into that, real quick, connect those two.
Just had to bring it up, didn't you?
There's Tam asked a great question, and there's something more to this question, I think, too. Not only are we going to bring hex to parity, is that an ideal worth doing? That's what I posed to you guys. Like, what is the for and against that? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm good with PHEX. I'm good. I got my copy. I'm good. Of course, EX. People holding bags of that, they would like parity. People in general who just want both to have value, want parity. What is the value in parity? Why is that a good thing?
I don't know about you guys, but I have hex on both chains. I have stakes for very long period of time, so you're not getting rid of me whether you wanted to or not. I would love for them to be parity. I would love for the least expensive one to be worth as much as the most expensive one, not just a fraction of what I had on one chain, trying to move it into all of my liquidity on the other side and getting a fraction of what I previously had. So the people who are P-Hex maximalists, PulseChain Hex maximalists, what does it hurt them to see Ethereum Hex come to parity with them?
Well, I'd also say the nuance of new people coming in, if they only buy PHEX, they don't care about EX anymore. There's also that. Yep. And we hope that is a large group of people, right? We hope more people come in X and do buy Hex regardless of which one.
I'd like to not only see them in parity, but also moving up and to the right in tandem. That's what I'd like to see. Not just parity, but also having some price appreciation, regardless of which side it's on.
You mean prices can go up? I don't see that happen very often. It's been a while. I mean, other than GIF.
So you guys have been so burnt over the last 2 years that it's hard to remember there is a time that prices used to go up and they will again. I promise.
What are you talking about, KNTX? I'm forged, man. I'm in forged Texan. That's what that's called.
Yes, you are.
Burned.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
not burned.
Yeah, you're no longer an OG. You're a forged Texican.
That actually sounds pretty cool. FH. Guys, what's next? Tell me as much as you want to tell me. What's next, though? When and what's next? When and what's next? It's been a couple weeks.
Early dinner for me. I think that's what's next. I haven't eaten all day, so
that sounds like KNTX has passed on that question. Well, I like it when you pass the baton to GIF on that. That's amazing. GIF has any thoughts? Last question, I promise.
Just say, make sure you're paying attention.
Join the Telegram chat.
Where
that's where we're going to announce things first. So
there you go. Well, yeah, where can people pay attention? Let me. Is it Gifford?
So it's the TDME / Giffordwear _ is the direct Telegram link, I believe.
I feel like I posted this like before, and I just can't. Doesn't even type
several
it out
times.
I'm gonna manually type it. You guys sit there for a second.
Oh, failed the post because RHMax has not made me a mod. It's just probably a good idea. Don't do it, by the way. Don't do it.
Next time, answer more questions, bro. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Incentivize me with a wrench.
Yeah, you're not the only one that can incentivize. There we go. Healthy markets. Healthy markets. Is this the right one?
That is it.
Okay. Yep. It came up on Telegram. It said 1,300 members. I remember when it was less than 100.
You should remember when it was less than 10, but I'm just saying.
I'm trying to think.
You weren't important enough yet, Giff.
That's right.
You didn't feed his tech obsession yet.
No. Giff told me it was a meme coin. And I'm the guy who said 3 times on this stream, I like DeFi. And then
it's still a meme coin. What are you talking about? GIF is still a meme coin. And
everything's a meme coin, bro. Bitcoin's a meme coin. Ethereum's a meme coin.
100%.
We can go down there too. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. All right, gentlemen. I think that was a fun stream. Appreciate you both. And again, I know Giff's a little tired. KNTX looks fresh though. He looks pretty fresh, looking strong over there.
I'm not tired at all, but I am very hungry.
Yeah, so you're hungry. Okay.
Very hungry.
Well, people eat from time to time unless you're fasting. So you're not fasting.
I'm only 5'9" and I weigh almost 200 pounds. I like to eat. So
that's a lot of muscle. That's a lot of muscle right there. Gents, always appreciate it. And until next time, everyone out there, Scivive and 5555. We are out.